right, everybody. Let's see here. Just like that. And just like that. Okay. Pretty good. Where's my phone now? Alrighty. Now, isn't that beautiful? That is Yoshiaki Sato, who is a Japanese accordionist, and I just stumbled across his music about an hour or so ago while I was looking for some videos on Bellows Shakes to explore today with you guys. And it was just this little clip, and then I couldn't figure out who the artist was, and I had to hear more. So just really, really beautiful concept using freebase accordion. So, hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. My name is Dallas, and I'm broadcasting live from southeastern Pennsylvania. I'm an accordion player, and let's see, just trying to make myself large for everybody. There we go. All right. I'm an accordion player, and I teach accordion, and I love music and life, and I want to say as a thing at the beginning of this stream that this stream welcomes all people, and we support trans people who a lot of the United States is working against, but not here on the live stream. And we wish you the best. We're for all people. We explore music from all over the world and all countries. And this nation, the United States, I grew up knowing it as a melting pot, and I love that about where we live. My grandparents immigrated from Scotland, both of them, and so I'm the grandchild of immigrants. And my mom was born in Canada on their way to, well, I think my grandfather thought he would get a job in Canada in the aerospace industry, and then that didn't pan out, so then he moved to Southern California. But my mom's an immigrant, and my uncle was born in Scotland, and that's where my sentiments lie as far as the support of people. And these days, I think we have to stick together. So that's my values, and that's what I value, and that's what you get in this stream. I hope everyone's doing great out there, and we're having really beautiful late summer weather here in southeastern Pennsylvania. It's kind of cloudy, but it's just beautiful. I've got a t-shirt on, and the window's open, and it's just really wonderful. Sometimes it can be really even cold or just very rainy at this time of day. Hey, Sammy, it's wonderful to see you comment. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just having a good time. I had a wonderful weekend down in Richmond, Virginia, playing with a friend, Thomas Wakefield, who's a really interesting guy. He's a professor of history and other studies, and a wonderful guitar player that I know through the jazz manouche, the Django Reinhardt style music. And he put me on a gig down in Richmond for the Art Deco Society, which I thought, when I took the gig, with that name, you think it's a society dedicated to architecture, but it's not. It's actually people who love to dress up in beautiful, bespoke 1920s clothes, and they dance the way they danced to swing music in the 1920s. And we were there to play for their garden party, which got rained out, so it was held inside. But that was really lovely, a lot of fun. There was a Charleston contest, and I think a pie tasting contest, pie baking contest, and some other stuff. Very fun. And there was lots of great Gatsby trivia, and of which I didn't know the answers to any. But it was really fun, and I'm going to be playing back in Richmond, I think on the Saturday. I want to say it's the 26th of this month. And that'll be really fun. I might pick up a couple more gigs down in Richmond as well. And I wanted to, before we get into the topic for today's live stream, which ostensibly these live streams are about accordion music, but music, accordion is but one circle in the Venn diagram of what this live stream is about. We love to look at all different kinds of musics and all different kinds of instruments on this stream. And I'm happy to share that I was invited by Janet Klusevsek, that's the wife of Guy Klusevsek, to participate in a memorial concert for Guy. And so I wanted to listen to some of Guy's music. I'm going to pull this up on the stream here. Let's see. Let me share this with you guys. I got to click the other thing. Voila. So I guess this is not Roulette's website, but it's at Roulette in Brooklyn, and it's on February 25th. This is actually Volker Gertze, it's my guess. Let's see, Roulette, Brooklyn, was it 25th? Feb 25, 2026. See if I can just find the. Is it on there yet? It's probably not on their website yet. But, anyways, that's a cool thing. So let's listen to a little bit of Guy, and we'll check out. Do I have anything on the playlist?
Hello. Today,
I don't think I saved any Guy stuff yet. One moment. Just give me 1 second, guys. And it's not just me on the concert. It's like a all-star studded cast of performances. Just amazing people that Guy played with. And I never performed with Guy, but I'll probably perform the little piece that he dedicated to me in his... Where is it? I just had it. In his vignettes book, which is so cool. We've talked about this book a little bit on the live stream, but I'm just reminded of how cool this book is. I'm looking for, because Guy worked, with, like, if you consider different kinds of sounds or genres, like, well, I guess I shouldn't say mediums or media, because genres is the correct term for music, but he worked in many different genres. I mean, he was always himself. But as far as like the avant-garde, and he has, this is just so cool. Like look at this. I don't want to copyright infringe because you guys should buy the book. But look, that is notation for like clusters on the accordion. So it's modernist, 20th century modernist, avant-garde music. Very, very cool. Let's look at the key to the cymbals here. Strike register switch. So that means you actually are hitting the register switch. Then you're using the air button. You're smacking bellows with the right hand. You're stomping your right foot. You're shouting hey. And then you do a sharp inhalation. So cool. Very, very fun. So it's a lot of air button, and it's not clusters. That's my bad. It's air button and register switches. How cool. And fun, and then all kinds of cool stuff. There's stuff for standard basses. There's stuff for chromatic basses, also known as free bass. So let's listen to a little bit of this one. Let's see. This is just a little... How loud is that? If you guys, let me know if that's like way too loud for us. And I can say hello to a bunch of other people here. So we got Roland and Girls Play Accordion. Hello, Chris. Hello, and Tom. Hello to everybody.
It broke my heart when Citrus My Love recording went out of print, because I feel it's some of my most personal, deeply felt emotional music. And I'm so incredibly excited and delighted that Starkland is going to reissue it. In 1990, when the album came out, Citrus My Love, I remember listening to it back and thinking, wow, this music is really dark. And I was actually a little frightened by how dark I felt it was at the time. I listened to it recently several times, and it doesn't sound dark to me now so much as solemn, introspective, and incredibly personal.
So that's one of the albums, Citrus My Love. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, there it is. Okay. And this is a project that he called that guy Klusevsek called the Bantam Orchestra. And I was talking with Janet, guy's wife, about she just said, oh, we have some ensembles that we need an accordion player to cover, to play guys' parts. So and I said, well, okay, let me, I am interested in this, but let me get familiar with the music and see if I can do it. And one of the things that I'm concerned about is if there's a freebase part, I can do it on I think depending on how challenging it is, I could do it potentially on the Machino freebase that I have a few different instruments of that are very, very fine instruments for their style. But if it requires converting between standard bass and chromatic bass, that would be something I would not be able to do because I don't own a freebase instrument. And that really got brought to my attention when I was a few weeks ago when I was doing some gigs in the Midwest, and I played a set of solo music, kind of a short set. It was like 35 minutes or something like that, 40 minutes maybe, of solo music at a house concert. And I wanted to play Machino accordion. I also wanted to play Stradella accordion. And I had to bring two different instruments. And that's just such a pain and such a drag. Even just practicing wise, it's a drag to have to change instruments for me. That's just for me. I could imagine this being, very different. There are many of my friends and acquaintances who are multi-instrumentalists, and that doesn't bother them at all. And I wonder, in the chat, let me throw the chat on the screen here. I wonder how many of you are comfortable kind of swapping back and forth. If your ideas sort of transcend, it's easy for you to just hop on a keyboard or grab a wind instrument, or get on the accordion and just kind of move back and forth. I frequently feel like, and I think this is something that's just me and my style, like who I am, but it's just, I just kind of want to have like one instrument basically that does everything for me, and I want it to be an accordion, and I don't want to have a Machino accordion that's freebase and then a Stradella accordion that's, not freebase and whatever, this kind of thing. And that's hard to do because as far as I know, there are no Machino accordions ever made as a converter instrument to move between Stradella and Machino freebase. And so that means I would have to pay really what would be truly an exorbitant amount of money to get an instrument custom made, and that God knows how long that would take. Or I could consider moving to a different freebase system, which is, something that is, I don't know. I have a lot of hesitations and qualifications about it, but I'm really curious. And then I think this is a very common question that not everybody, but a lot of people have, which is like, well, okay, if I'm going to go to one of the two most common systems, the B system of chromatic basses or the C system of chromatic basses, should I just get an instrument that has that in the right hand as well? And that's, that's the question that I've had. I went down that road before, maybe 10 years ago or so, and I think the experience that I had kind of led me in a different direction. It led me more, it became, I went to France to what I thought was going to do a very intensive way to learn the C system accordion, but that's not actually what happened. What happened was I ended up getting a really intense sort of 3 weeks on this French technique, more so than coming out, being able to translate what I already knew about, let's see, piano accordion to a button accordion, and especially like jazz or just learning the keyboard. So then I came back and I was like, you know what? And I also was at where I was studying. I was there with like a bunch of like amazing piano accordion players from Lithuania and Latvia and other places in the world. And they, I remember getting dropped off by the neighbor, hearing this clean, all these things that I thought were like button accordion, special to the button accordion, clean, crisp, precise, amazing sound, so spectacularly fast. And as I get out of the car, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening. I'm here in France at this famous accordion teacher. And then I go in the door and it's not a button accordion player. It's a piano accordion player. And I thought, well, okay, the limitations that I maybe projected, I'll say, to be quite generous, are not, it's not the instrument, it's the technique and the approach and all that sort of stuff. That being said, where it regards, playing chromatic basses, because now I can do a bunch of cool things on the Machino system, and it's not that different than the Stradella system. It's one more button. I do think it's superior, and I would, if I could just get anything I wanted, right now in the moment, I would have a wonderful accordion that's both, standard bass, Stradella, and freebase converter, and it would be a button accordion, and it would be Machino accordion in both sides. And I would love to try that, and see how that went. But I can't. So now I just posted on Facebook this morning, just asking around, just to see if anybody is getting rid of or knows of a good sort of used either B or C system to play around with. There's another thing that I've been thinking about too, which is as I've been putting all this time into the piano accordion and the Stradella over the last basically year or so, I'm into these really large open voicings. I'll show you guys. Where is my piano accordion? It's here. So these really large voicings, or a good things that I can hear and think about. Let's say I messed it up, but things where it's really at the limits of my hand, and to do that the way the axle pins are, it's really it's quite uncomfortable to do. It certainly is doable, but I'm hearing things and movements that are really uncomfortable and challenging in ways that I'm imagining on the button accordion I could play a lot more comfortably and move through these large voicings, like even just taking a voicing like this, which is a wonderful voicing, or this one. Let's take that one. I'm thinking this is at a G13. So And for the size of the accordion keyboard, for the size of my hand, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's certainly anything less than that is much more comfortable. All this stuff, but moving these around, which I love, and I think really behoove the accordion. Like to write for the accordion, those kind of sounds. That's a big sound that I'm after. Is getting that stuff more comfortable. So this is all an experiment in the land of accordion. What will happen? There's a little bit also to like the idea like of playing just a French button accordion on these French accordion gigs that I'm doing. To really. Instead of translating it to this, Italian piano accordion, just to play it on like a beautiful Cavagnolo or a Mojan, and just do it just like the players that I love listening to. There's a little bit of that too. There's a little bit of the show business angle of just playing a button French style button accordion. But I'm not married to that. I've also there's a magic to the sound of the bayan. I don't know. I guess I'm sort of like doing the artist's way spirit, where it's just like let your imagination go, and it's very possible that this might not go anywhere. I might sort of have this idea of like, oh, maybe I want this thing in my life. Maybe I want to try this out for like a week or something, and then I might just go, you know what? That's actually I don't. I thought it out. I kind of like like Do you ever just have to buy something and it's just like I'm probably just gonna return this in a week. It's too expensive or I don't need it, but I just have to buy it and then return it. Anyways, I'm not saying that I'm going to do that with the accordion. I'm just saying like that's kind of like this is my running through my thoughts here. I even pulled out the button accordion today. I have not a wonderful accordion. It's fine if you're a student. It's a little toner diatonic accordion. This one that I have. It's kind of cool. I mean, the way the Honer basses are is really neat. They have the reed set combinations are pretty neat. It's got a really neat sound. Let's see if he's a. So I have something that I could start to dabble with, and I probably should. Let's see. I'm just curious. I have not thought about this at all, and I don't have a diagram even. But if I did want to make some of those big voicings, let's just think about this real quick. So let's see. The one that I was playing was I had the third and I had the seventh. It was like a G13. So I had the F down at the bottom, and then the B, like that. So I'm not even sure about the fingering. That would be it. That's the voicing that I had. And look how close that is. On the piano accordion, my hand was stretched out like this. On the button accordion, and I know at least I could take it here and here. You're probably not supposed to do this. And even so, I wonder, let's see, how else would I get that? That's there. There isn't one in the thumb. So it's going to have to be there. One of the rules of thumb, pun intended, I suppose, pun unintended, but is not to put the thumb on the third row. So I don't know. I would definitely need, some lessons from somebody who plays a lot of harmony and stuff like that. So these have to come up a half step. Let's see. So there's me just moving stuff in a half step, and then if I move this voice, that's gonna go there. Let's see. that's, one of the things about the tone chamber, this is not a tone chambered instrument, and it does not have, wonderful reeds. It has student quality reeds. I still think they're good. They're good to get, especially if your ability to get a new instrument is like not, you don't have a lot of money. Maybe you have $1,000. These kind of student model 3-reed Honers retailed for like $1,200 or so. I don't know what everything is now with the tariffs, but and inflation. But if you were brand new to accordion and you wanted like something that's probably just gonna work, that's like new, so you don't have to worry about all the mileage that it's had. They're not a bad one to start with, especially if if you don't have a local accordion store, because Honer's owned by some like megalopolis monopoly brand that has a whole bunch of stuff. So it means that guitar centers, you could order a Honer accordion from a guitar center, which like you can't get, a bell tuna from a guitar center, I don't think. So they're like not bad instruments. They're not going to take you that far, but they're wonderful. They're light. They project well. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort to get a pretty good sound out of them. I think the basses sound neat, as you guys heard. Anyway, sorry, I'm really kind of rambling around. But where I was gonna go with that is that these voicings too. It's like hard for me to evaluate the voicings, how they sound on this accordion, because it's not tone chambered, which means our ears are hearing a ton more overtones coming out of this accordion, and so it's even kind of noisier. It's like noisier and more cluttered. So I don't love the sound of this voicing as much as I love it on the Victoria. That's still kind of dense. Or what if I played it off? That's pretty cool sounding, but I wonder if I could even spread it out further, And that is one of the neat things that you get too, is the ability to. I was finding also that as I'm working on these concepts where, like the accordion concept of a lot of these jazz chords ends up being that you keep the chord tones at the bottom of your voicing, usually for me in my thumb and index finger on the piano accordion, because there's no note that the thumb is not supposed to hit on that. And then the upper parts of the chord in my middle, and almost always something in the pinky. And then if you're kind of following those voices, the lines, sometimes the line that I want to hear just literally goes out of the possibility of my anatomy, to play it all in one hand. And so that makes me think, I'm like, okay, well, I could modify, find a modification of this, but what if I had a button accordion, and then I could kind of reach everything that I'm hearing and let these things spread out even more and open things up even more to larger voicings, like when we get into listening to, like, let's check out Marcel Loeffler, because his voicings on the accordion, and this has nothing to do with the subject of today's show, but there's a wonderful demo video that Marcel Loeffler, they filmed of him demoing a Gadji accordion. Gadji is a small boutique brand that a lot of people I know love. Felipe Hostens, who's an amazing accordion player, plays that brand. And Cordine, that's Loic de Silva in New York. He plays in New York City. He plays that brand. And they're kind of like bespoke. They're like made for you. I guess she probably has some pre-made, but it seems like everybody that I know just like puts an order in and she builds it specially for you, which is really cool. Let me screen share so you guys can see. So this video is quite long, but it'll give us a nice example of Marcel's large chords and the sound he gets. And his sound is very, very cool. It's something that, like, also as I evaluate this, like, shoot, like, okay, now I've opened up the can of worms, the Pandora's box as far as like ideas. Like, oh boy, his sound is like probably my favorite sound. The only problem is that it's his sound, so like it's like, well, I don't want to just be copy like a cheap American copy of Marcel Loeffler's sound. I mean, like I would be so fortunate where I sound like that. But you know, I want to sound like myself. But his sound is really neat. It is the result of um, having two low sets of reeds, which I don't have an accordion. They do make that accordion, and I think, well, that's not true. I do have a too low accordion, but it leaks like a sieve. And I took it to a couple local places, and they said we can't do anything with it. I bet Potosa could fix it up if I could get it out there. But anyways, it's not tone chambered. It's a really cool accordion. But two lows. The most famous version, I think, is an Excelsior that was an Art Van Dam model. And one of the lows is on the Excelsior. In fact, let's find it. This is fun. This is a fun little just stream of consciousness diversion. Did I drink all my espresso? I did. Dang it. Meanwhile, I can comment on Christian Gregory's comment. He said, I really appreciate this. I've wanted to see you playing and explaining a button accordion for the longest time. Cheers. Well, that's cool. You're going to see more of it, Christian, and I aim to please, so I'm happy to hear that. There's another big fear there, which is like all of my students are piano accordion students. And so as I spend more time on an instrument that's not the piano accordion, that's where my interest is going to be. And that's going to be like, so either I have to kind of like create learning content or find a reason to keep playing the piano accordion. So there's a big risk there for me too, you know? It's like, well, am I gonna become irrelevant on the piano accordion? And this is thinking way, way, way far down the line. I don't even have an instrument yet, and I don't even know that I'm going to do this, but it's an idea. I've kind of settled that I don't want to try out the Bell-Tuna matrix system, although, okay, so here, one idea at a time. So let's see, first things first is let's go to Liberty Bellows because they have a huge selection. If I put in LL, will that get us anything? No. Let's see, Art Van Dam. See if that will get us something. I'm looking for an Art Van Dam model that has two lows. Otherwise, I guess I'll just have to go to YouTube. Unless I spelled it wrong. Maybe Van Dam is one word. No. Okay. Let's go here then. So the deal is the Art Van Dam model, and like Frank Petrilli plays a Potosa that has two lows, and he uses it. Sounds so good, so powerful. Okay, here we go. So low, low, middle. Here's one. Oh, that's me. That's me doing the demo during COVID. That's so funny. There we go. That's the same voicing I just played. Okay, now you should be able to hear the slight phasing, which I think is really beautiful. It's a really beautiful sound. That slight phasing. The two lows, as far as I understand, are trying to be in exact unison, but you just, given the physics and the change, you know, everything, you're not gonna have a pure unison like you've got two expert violinists or two trombone players who can, you know, fix exactly, or two singers to exactly change the pitch for each note to make it perfectly in tune. That's not what you get on an accordion. So there's a little bit of phasing, and it's beautiful. So, and I think in this case, one of the lows is in the tone chamber and one is out. I could be wrong. Let's see, does it tell us? Yeah. Double tone chamber. So the one L and the M is in the tone chamber, and then the other L is out, and that supposedly was done for a reason. This is the Excelsior Art Van Dam model, kind of a famous model. So then, all right, here's another one here's Mike demoing the same one. So anyway, so then there is the Marcel Loeffler's Gadji sound, if I'm not mistaken. I guess I should cover my ass and make sure I'm not going to just say a bunch of incorrect stuff. But his sound is two lows in the tone chamber. So what we heard, but the difference is they're both in the tone chamber. So rather than one that has a lot more overtones and one that has a lot fewer overtones, because the tone chamber absorbs the overtones, like bow, wow, that would be an example of the one of the tones with my mouth open has many more overtones, and then with my mouth more closed has many fewer overtones. So you've got that. So the sounds match. And then there's a thing called amplisound, Bell-Tuna amplisound, that some other brands make as well. You can find that on Hohner Fun Flash, on the Gadgies, on the Mangashinis. I guess it's not, you can't use the term amplisound. That's like Bell-Tuna's term. I think Gadget calls it a resonance box or something like that. Here's amplisound. Let's hear this. And I don't even exactly know what it is. I think it's like a box around the tone chamber or something. But it sounds freaking incredible.
Hello, my name is Excellent. And with Cazzotto, it's warm and full. The same with bassoon. And now I add the amplisound.
This recording quality is not sufficient to really capture it. But you can hear it a little bit. It almost sounds like built-in acoustic reverb. I don't have words to explain it. But anyways, it should be on this. Let's see. If we get to Gadget model Niglo. Niglo means hedgehog. Let's see. Translate. Okay. I just want to see. Well, okay. With no further ado. So, two lows, both in the tone chamber. And the amplisound. Two lows, both in the tone chamber and the amplisound. I'll know by the sound if it's that one. So to me, it sounds like it is. I hope somebody in the know doesn't tell me it's not, but there's a quality to the sound. We'll find some more Marcel Loeffler videos. one more. Let's check out a little bit of this record. So you can hear that like small subtle phasing in the sound, and because it's two lows and not two middles, the low register is the register that swing music is usually played, commonly played in, and it's just because it's, I don't know, it fits the music better. The clarinet register, the two middles usually ends up being too shrill, especially on the piano accordion, because the lowest note there is not low enough. So most of your chords, a lot of times when you're playing chords on the piano accordion in a jazz style, swing style, you want the range to be lower. I can show you guys. Victoria, this office is still an incredible mess. Very slowly getting together. I bought all these like little 12 by 12 pegboards, metal pegboards off of Amazon, which has been cool and helpful. Very, very, very helpful to organize things. In one of the future episodes, I'll figure out how I can move the camera around and show you guys the office so far. But that's helpful because you always have like cables and stuff like that, and you need to grab stuff for gigs and put it back. So anyway, regarding the voicing range that we want. So the term voicing, if you're unfamiliar with that, is a commonly used term to describe the order in which you put your notes of the chord. So what is your voicing for that? So that's I'm on the bassoon register, which makes that the sound of middle C, whatever that frequency is for A440. That's middle C, and then I might grab there. I'll commonly grab there, maybe even lower. So very often playing there, if I played a, and then when I want to play melodies, sometimes I'll play them there. So a little melody of Skylar. That feels pretty low to me, especially like if I was going to put some harmonies there. If I was going to play more than a monophonic melody, like meaning just one note, single note melody. Right? But if I want to put harmonies on there, that's pretty low. But it's pretty, but it starts to get pretty muddy, especially, or fairly muddy, I should say. If I want to move those. That's so dark. Again, very pretty, but like maybe acoustically just this G minor triad. So cool, but with other instruments, it's gonna sound too muddy. So I more likely would play up here if I was gonna harmonize below it. here I'm like, that's middle C, and then I can still go down. Especially when I'm playing like I was this weekend, like I do. More of my gigs are with ensembles, jazz style ensembles, especially manouche, Django style music where you have guitar and bass, very often violin, clarinet. And in that case, I do more accompanying than I do just playing melody and taking improvised solos. And especially in the case of accompaniment, when I'm just as we call comping. A flat. Right, so here I'm down, again, middle C, G, and then moving down below that. If I was on clarinet, I would be playing down here. So on clarinet register, this is middle C. So the same thing. Which is still cool, but it gets kind of shrill. And then when I'm going to accompany, that's okay there. It's just this being the lowest that I can go is going to get kind of old, and I need to go lower basically for my chords. So usually we do 2 lows. And then for that case, it's really nice to have that amazing double low sound. Although you end up using a lot more air, twice as much air, and you need not twice as much arm power, but more arm power. So it's not like there are trade-offs there. But it's just such a cool sound. So like my dream instrument, I don't know, it's like C system, B system, whatever, machino in 2 hands. That could be it. I could come on the next live stream and go, hey guys, like I'm thinking about trying to get an accordion company to make me a machino in 2 hands. Who knows? But that's kind of what's up. So let's see what else. I suppose we can just get into the topic for today now, which is Bellows Shakes. So this is a very, very much like, I'm not good at Bellows Shakes, and that was the title of the email. That's the title of this episode. I'm not good at Bellows Shakes. I will play something for you that I've played on the stream before, I think. But this is something it's an introduction that I composed, I don't know, a while ago. When I first was taught how to do the triple bellows shake. And I was like, oh my gosh, I finally got it, you know? So I made this thing that's an introduction, and now these days it's now too long. Like I need to sort of redo it. I need to update it. But essentially it's an introduction for the song Indifference. Right, that melody. And all I'm doing is I'm taking the chords to the trio section, which are G, and then B7, and then E7, A minor, D7, G, F sharp, B7. And instead of playing them like that, I'm doing a suspension on the third. And then same for the B7. And the E7. And A minor. D7. And I'm playing it slow. And F sharp. And B7. And then I add more voices. Where does it go? So that's the concept of it, and it's not rubato, but it's in time, and the only difference is that I do it with a triple bellows shake. then on the repeat of it, which the trio section to Indifference is a A-B form itself. So when I repeat it, the second 16 bars, I bring in the basses and I try to thicken up the chords instead of just these 2-note voicings. And then I go into the waltz reel. And then it's if I'm playing with a band, that's when I have the band come in on the accompaniment, that thing. Or if it's solo, then my left hand just takes it away and I go forward from that. So that's kind of like the only Bellows Shake thing that I do, and it's something I composed. I was in creative moment. I heard this cool thing, and I play it, somewhat often. There's like myriad opportunities to play these waltzes on gigs with guitarists, so that's fun. Especially that one. Indifference is the one that everybody knows. Even if you play like not necessarily Django music, a lot of times, flute players, mandolin players, violin players, and it's the best one to learn because you can play it with the most people, There are so many, maybe even more interesting waltzes, but the people you're playing with probably don't know them. So then it's like, what I find often is that then the performance isn't that great because everyone's just like trying to read the chart and all that kind of stuff. Often the musettes get kind of messed up a lot of the time. It's usually the form. Is it 2 A's? Is it B? Do I go to the C? When do I come back to the A? What do I go to next, So anyways, so regarding that, that's the triple Bellows Shake. And the triple Bellows Shake, the way that I saw it taught is to get the bottom and the top to clunk against each other. Can you guys hear that? So in order to do that, you need to have a little bit of space in your bellows, and you gotta clunk, 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 and somehow the top and bottom clunk. So you gotta start with it up, and then down, clunk, up, then down, then up, then down. And if I just do that, up, down, if you guys do this, if you want to try this, I'm just gonna hold down a G. You can hear da 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 da. I'm still not totally sure what's happening. I don't know is it hitting forward like that? Is that what's causing that kada? Or is it I don't know. I'm open to anybody elucidating this for me. But regardless, you start there. And then you just kind of start moving your left arm faster and faster on the clunking. And then pretty soon you kind of unlock the secret and you've got it going on. You've got a triple Bellows Shake. So we start with triple Bellows Shake because it's kind of the easiest one, I think. Honestly. So again, you need some space there. There's an amazing solo that Ludovic Bayer takes on Stompin' at Decca, which is a Django Reinhardt tune. It's with Angela DeBar's, Ludovic and Angelo. It's live, and it is so amazing. And Ludovic takes this whole multiple choruses where he's doing these amazing sixth diminished chords. And let's listen to that, actually. Let's check out Ludovic's solo here. It's a live video on YouTube. Stompin' at Decca. he goes nuts. I mean, this is one of my favorite things of his. It's so great. Here it is. And Ludovic's on this beautiful Cavagnolo accordion. Cavagnolos, in my personal opinion, are the most beautiful accordions. They have this incredibly gorgeous grill. I know for a fact not everybody loves these, but I just think they are so beautiful. They must be like laser cut, these grills. Look at this. Look at that. Beautiful, just beautiful. It's like got pheasants on it, and like I think that's like a hummingbird or something, or a swallow, and leaves. It's so gorgeous. Okay, back to Ludovic. So there he is. So beep beep boop boop deep da do. So I think that goes around the circle of fifths. So he's playing a B7 here, and he's doing the. And then it gets back to G. So it's like goes around the circle of fifths. Okay. La vida va va vum fui fa. La. So just gotta smell. Yeah. I'm hearing the top melody, and like I need to listen to it a lot slower and closer to find out exactly what his chord voicings are, but so I'm hearing let's just check that out. We're gonna talk about double Bellows Shakes and stuff, but this is just a nice way to kind of get into this. I went too far. Dang it. Okay. It almost sounds like it's not a tri. It sounds like fourths or something. Well, I'm gonna go with the block chords. Barry Harris. It's not that. shake thing. But so cool. So cool. I have never really heard anybody else use it in the swing context before. And that's super cool. And so this is a nice time to like step aside. Let me check in on the chat. No comments? Any comments? No comments yet. Okay, cool. Have you guys joined me here? Hello. Okay. So regarding the Bellows Shake, it's super physical. And I've had, with my little triple Bellows Shake thing that I love to do because I think it's really cool. My composed introduction that I played to Indifference, and like the members of the band will tease me like, oh man, he's gonna die or whatever, because like sometimes it's like so taxing on me, and I for whatever reason I'm like struggling to like finish it. Very, very physical. And so let's take a little step and talk about using the body, and use of the body, maintenance of the body, especially this word that I'm into right now, poise of the body, relaxing the body. So I think the theme of yesterday's accordion yoga class, which I teach on Mondays, I might alter the schedule a little bit, but ostensibly it's Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you're a $20 member of my website, risingreed.com, you get access to all those you want to come to, well, as long as you're a member. And the theme of it was creating relaxation, which is something I picked up from studying with Jack and Natalie, especially Natalie from Cinema. And for me, as a 43-year-old person who does this a lot of the day, and for gigs where I'm really trying to play my heart out, and this very virtuosic kind of music, which is quite demanding, gypsy jazz is, it's hard on the body. It can be hard on the body, or for me, it's easy to like overplay. So I found my way to this like, okay, relaxation, in order to do this touch, as I'm hitting bad notes, staying relaxed in my hand. So my hand is not stiff. I don't have a very strong hand. There's strength and accuracy, but from a suppleness and relaxation. So keeping my left shoulder relaxed, my right shoulder relaxed, taking a breath in and relaxing it, and going back and forth to that. So there's a wonderful Tony Lavello video that we're going to look at next, where he describes, I'll probably have to scrub through the video to get to the parts that I want, but he describes doing Bellows Shakes, and he makes it very simple, and like you don't have to think about like bars of music and all this kind of stuff, or you don't need a book. It's just really simple. He just talks about a clock. I'll let him tell it again, but a clock that has a second hand, and practice for 15 seconds and rest for 45 seconds. So I don't think you'll be able to see this here. Now I'm gonna put my stopwatch on. Hang on, having a weird issue with my screen flickering. All right. Let's see. There's got to be a website for it, right? There we go. Okay. So you don't need to go to Walmart and buy a $10 clock. You got one right here. So let's say that I'm going to do a double Bellows Shake, Tony Lavello style, and we will watch him talk about all the same stuff. I'll wait till the second hand gets to 12, and then he says, do whatever. Let's just say I'm trying to do a major scale, because even that's hard for me. And I'll do doubles. I think 5 notes is good. All right, so I'm going to relax. Getting a little stressed out just thinking that. Start to move my left arm, relax. Okay, here I go. 15 seconds, and then I'm going to relax for 45 seconds. Okay, here I go. And again. Okay, now I've stopped for 45 seconds. Maybe I'll try to add, I'm going to play more stuff than I can do. So I'm going to play, I'll add the left hand because that's way harder to get them to line up. Not easy. I'm just gonna go ahead and go when it gets to the 9. So I'll rest for 30 seconds because otherwise it's too much dead air. Okay. I'm relaxing my shoulders, my hands, my consciousness. Okay, here I go. Okay. That was a little harder, especially using my left arm there. So I'm going to relax for 30 seconds. Although I believe Tony Lavello says start with 15 and relax for 45 and alternate that for a few times. I forget, 10 minutes or something. So that would mean you're doing it 10 times. It's really an awesome concept. I'm going to change my left hand register also. And I'm going to try to rest, like actively relax my shoulders as part of this because they're about to get worked out again. So here I go. Another thing I'll do. All right, here I go. Okay, and I'll stop. Okay, now at this point, for me practicing, so this live stream is a lot about, you know, just exploring the Bellows Shake, exploring like how we can work on it, how we can use it, and just the major scale. That's boring to me, and I don't even just doing that on the live stream right now. I don't want to do that. That's not really something I would practice. It doesn't feel useful to me. So what I would rather do is I'd rather practice some block chords for maybe a simpler song like Minor Swing, where there's not very many chord changes. You have A minor, you have D minor, you have E7, and then there's a B flat in there. So only 3 different chord changes. So that's kind of simpler. And I'll just maybe practice a very simple melody, which would be or maybe I'll just go up. 1 maybe something like that. And maybe in taking Tony Lavello's idea, instead of like looking at the clock, since my that could work, you know, for something, but like what might be better is for me to put on a backing track and just kind of play and rest. So I'm gonna take the same amazing idea, which is you play and then you deliberately rest, and then you play and then you deliberately rest, and you push yourself by resting for fewer amounts of time, which we'll check out that Tony Lavello video in a second, but I want to play a little bit more. So I'm going to go to YouTube, and I'm going to look up Not Too Fast Minor Swing backing track, of which there are probably like 3 million of them. Let's see, 160 beats per minute. Let's do this even slower one, 110. It says electric guitar. Don't love that, but that's okay. Yeah. And then I can decide, do I want to do doubles? Dum, dum, let's see, dum, dum, dee, dee, da, dee, da, dee, da, dee, da, dee, da. Or do I want to do quadruples? Da, 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 dee, da, 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 dee, da, 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 dee, da, da, da. You know, and so maybe what I'll do is I'll come in, I'll play a bar, and then I'll rest 3 bars. And you can see in the video, you can see where I am in the music. But so I'm going to play on the A minor 6, and then I'll rest for these bars. Then I'll play on the E7, and I'll rest for those bars. I'll play on the D minor 6 and rest, and the E7. And then I'll kind of like simulate like pushing myself to do more. So let's see. Here we go. One, two, here I go. 2, 3, 4, and rest, 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 and rest. 2, 3, 4. Put a B flat in there. Here's the D minor 6. 2, 3, 4, and 1. E7. Right? So now what I'll do, since that's not killing me, if that was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just struggling, it sucks so bad right there, you know, or it's so hard on my body, I would keep that, but like, I feel like if I was to do this for my real practice, I would probably try to push myself to do a little bit more. There are other things that I'm not happy about. The execution, it's not like super in time, and it doesn't have like a rhythmic shape to the phrase of it. So those are other things that as I'm working deeper on this, I would try to like craft it better so it sounds more musical, like stronger music. But just for now, let's just talk about this Tony Lavello idea of reducing the amount of rest that you have. So in this case, I'll play a bar, dum 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 dum, rest, 2, 3, and then play another bar, dum 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 dum, rest. So I'm pushing it up. Okay. May as well take it back to the beginning. 1, 2, 3, and D minor. E7. Okay, so my style of practicing, especially like things that I want to add to my ability to play creatively, so to create spontaneous changes and differences in my approach, and this is what I teach and suggest people do, is to like create an etude. So pick a thing that you're trying to teach your nervous system to do and do it the same way, like for every single chord. So there, I took this jaka, daka, 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 da, and I used the same kind of chord voicing, which had the root at the top of the chord. So, and I started on the same beat, I just like transposed it to another bar. So like the A minor chord shape, I transposed to D minor when it was at that place in the music. So then like, now my brain is going, okay, how can I both make this sound more like music that I actually want to play, and also how can I start to explore? So I'm gonna skip to just an exploring part. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna be much more intuitive feeling in my like, you know, kind of theoretical pretend practice flow here. And I'm going to just try to improvise stuff. So improvise using my left arm, and maybe the limitation that I have sort of is that I'm gonna make sure that I build in rest time. Deliberately just remember to like, okay, rest, relax, reset the bellows because it's sort of drifting out. And then just try again. So let's see what happens here. Maybe I'll do triplet. And I forgot to rest, so let me rest longer. Rest some more. And I'm gonna rest. And so thinking about like there, I started just trying to deliberately try to get, instead of doing 2 even eighth notes, I swung it so the down was longer. And I can hear what needs to be practiced, which is they're not uniform and even. They're not perfectly in the pocket. And also there's no, sometimes the wrong thing is accented, like because I don't have control of it. I'm not doing it deliberately. It's just happening because my nervous system doesn't have it together yet. So these are all things that I'm like noticing about myself, like I'm sure you all do out there when you're practicing. You hear this and this and this and this. And then you know, figure out what's at the top. You make a list of it essentially and figure out, okay, based on what I just did and what I'm hearing, what should I put effort into changing, you know. So one of the things is maybe even just like deliberately creating accents. Maybe something like that, or maybe starting on the upbeats, which is weird, and then I need to figure out sort of a technique for that. So I want to start with the upbeat is still the opening of the bellows. Let's see. I'd probably not a good idea. That's weird. So instead, I'm gonna do up. So I'm going to start on an upbeat. So it makes sense in my brain. I'm closing, which is moving the bellows close like this, and then down. So it's like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Or if I did it in straight, like straight eighths, bit da da. Sa. Ah, can't go that fast. Okay, let's put this together with left hand, which is way harder for me. Maybe it is for you guys as well. So, let's see. So I have like questions like should I shorten the bass notes so they're stopped before the note is doubled, right? Like if I hold it for sort of a whole quarter note length, then I'm getting 2. And I can feel that I need to make my strap tighter. So I'm gonna make my strap tighter in the left hand. Let's see. Let me pull this up here. Okay. Hey, Bill Murphy. Oh, and Christian Gregory says in the chat, what do you say, Christian? Oh, yeah, you're just saying you appreciate the explanation. So talk more about the explanation here. I'm doing the technique that Tony Lovello talks about, and also I learned from my first accordion teacher, Joanna. Well, technically her husband, Stan Darrow, was my first accordion teacher, but I say they both were my first accordion teacher. I kind of studied with both of them same time, and longer with Joanna. But she said, and I wonder if she learned this from Tony or just other stuff, but it's the same technique, which is you're moving the palm. The palm's making contact with the baseboard here. The strap is pretty tight, and you're going down, and when you push your palm down with friction on it, you're opening the top of the bellows folds, and that's pulling air through it, so you get a sound. And then when you move the palm up, which you're not supposed to move the bottom, you're not supposed to go like this. Let me show you the bottom of the accordion. Tony Lovello will show us when we watch his video, but so we don't want that. We want instead this, where the bottom folds stay touching. Bellows like a fan. So this is way harder to do, and immediately my left arm, my left shoulder immediately. So so I can see how the 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off, or 15 seconds on, 30 seconds off, or whatever. And there's a lot of coordination that you need there. It's like finer, more precise coordination, I think, here than, because the bass button has to go just. And whew, okay, relax the shoulder. So another fun thing to do is to try to deliberately relax while you're doing the movement. So I'm just gonna relax my left shoulder in hopes that I can find a technique that doesn't use the shoulder so much. Maybe I don't even need to. Maybe there's other parts of my body that aren't so taxing. And okay. It is fun though. Very fun. The effect, can be like double tonguing on a wind instrument. Ta, 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 ta. It can be like bowing, where you're bowing very rhythmically like that. I think that the triple bellows shake sounds a lot like that. Before we go to Tony Lavello, let's check out Vivaldi Winter, which I think I have sheet music for. Yeah, I like this version's good. Martinez Levicus does it, I think. Yeah, I like this version. So no Bellows Shakes yet, but you'll know. Boom, boom. It's got like some piccolo in there. I was trying to find the sheet music to try this, but then it like wants me to log into my Scribd account, and let's see if I can find it. Winter Vivaldi accordion PDF. This is how I would search for it. See if I can find it here. Free scores. It's got to be for the accordion. Maybe we got it here. Are you guys seeing that? Yeah, you are. Okay, cool. And this accordion is not a free bass. And I guess I'd have to slow it down or take a lesson from somebody, but I'm looking here at the bottom of page 2, the D flat and F. Would I do the 16th notes? The 32nd notes are obviously Bellows shaken. Jagadagada. Bum. That's fun. Bum. G. I don't know. I kind of feel like it should be still up and down, because if I go out, then I'm going to have a hard time getting the bellows back to make the bellows shake easier again. Let's see. That's a C and an E diminished. E natural carries through. And this really should be for the free bass. That's what it says. Anyways, what are some more of the bellows shaky parts? Oh, D flat. It's hard to read. Oh, it's an A minor. Is it? Dude, I can't even. Whatever that is. This is neat. I would love to play this when I get my B system Bayon. Well, he's doing it on a piano free bass. I certainly have those. E flat, yeah. Scroll. Ba, 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 ba. My brain sees those and wants to play the free bass of the machino. Boom, 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 ba da yo no ze. That's like a G. That's what that is. Okay. I'm on, I'll put the mouse where I am right here. So the top is going, but then the thumb, can you guys see my thumb? Maybe. Let me see if I can do any of that with the left hand, which is going. 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay. Let's see. Maybe just the top. Let's see. 1, 2. Da 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 da. Ah. And that's how I would approach this, putting this together. Is like, adding things sort of easier to harder, layering them, teaching my nervous system to layer them in. So I wouldn't just like take this super slow and try to do everything at first. Instead, what I would do is like take maybe the kind of most core component, which is that top line where my mouse is, these 30-second notes that are held. And then after that, then see if I can layer my thumb in there, which I can. Let's see. Yeah, that's really what it is. Okay. And then remove my thumb and do the left hand with the top notes. Let's see. It's hard. It's hard to get that left hand to have enough air and come out. Let's see if I can do all of it. Let's see. I'll take it a little slower. Let's see. It's so not good enough, but it's fun. It's certainly giving me a blast of fun. I was like, shit, I'm kind of getting the sound. It's totally a mess. I really need to clean it up and go slower. But that's a wonderful use of it, is to get that. There's got to be a name for that in the in string land. But that piece is famous for that. Now I want to rest my shoulder a little bit, which, like anybody, if you're an adult starting to play the accordion, you need to build in rest to your process. And if you're a kid too, but especially adults and older adults especially, just as the body, needs more rest, and we don't want any repetitive motion injuries. So stretching, movement is all good. Resting is good. Alternating. We love Tony Lavello's ideas. Let's look at a little Tony Lavello. Tony Lavello. Bellows Shake. Yeah. Tony Lavello, Bellows Shaking creates accordion tsunami, destroys Dallas home. Nick Ballerini. Okay. Well, let's listen. Okay, that's fun. A little humor. This is awesome. Really, really good. The way he gets all of the accents out of there. think this is the one. Yeah. So here he's talking about it. And we've watched this on the show because we've done a whole episode on Tony Lavello. Yeah, what a wonderful sound. So it sounds like he has like his master switch on quite a bit. But you can see that his palm's really tight in there.
Everybody know what that song is? And I was their house guest. Hey, you missed this. They say there's some seats over here. Take the song in different variation of rhythms. This is where, you know, mind over matter. Now, I usually do this. If you go out and go to Walmart and get yourself a large clock with a second hand on it. Now, if you want to write this down, fine, but pay attention to it because it works. Believe me. 3 times a week. When you first start, for 5 minutes, the second hand, you will bellow shake for 15 seconds, rest for 45 seconds. Do that for 5 minutes. Bellow shake 15 seconds, rest 45 seconds. The second time you come along, the next 5 minutes, you bellow shake for 30 seconds, rest 30 seconds.
Okay, so this is refreshing my memory. So you don't do this, like, you don't work up to the thing. You do it sequentially. So you're going to practice bellow shake for like 15 minutes a row. But at first, for the first 5 minutes, you're doing 15 seconds. And then directly after that.
So far, you put 10 minutes in it, didn't you? Because you're going to do that for 5 minutes. And then here it comes. You bellow shake for 45 seconds and rest 15 seconds. Bellow shake 45 seconds, rest 15 seconds. Do that for 5 minutes. And guess what? You can do this.
Okay, so I love the simplicity of it. I love stuff like that. It's not overly intellectual. You don't need a book. You don't need sheet music. Just very simple. And it's about resting the body, allowing the body to have rest and relaxation. So cool. Let's check out somebody that I've known for a few years, not super well, but I saw him. I played on the same concert as Felipe this July at the American Accordionists Association Festival. And, oh, cool. Just want to see if we can find Felipe. Yeah, okay, look, here he's bellow shaking. But he...
Homem, uma pegada dessa, o resfolego dessa sanfona é até anoitecer.
He's so good. Let's see if we can find a solo because he's able to he uses also the out in technique, which it seems like a lot of Brazilian accordion players have that mastered. I want to see if we can find just him playing solo. Cool. Oh, that's a killer group of 3 people there. That's really fun. Let's see. Loic and Felipe. I don't know that we will be able to. Let's see. Felipe Hastens. How about AAA? Maybe not 4 A's, just 3. I might not be able to find it, and that's okay. There he is. Yeah. Anyway. That duo project is so cool. Nah, anyways. So another, just exploring like Bellows Shakes. another way to do it is I know from hanging out with my friends Gabe Rodriguez and Jamie Mashler, who are just phenomenal accordionists. They play there's in the genre of forró music, which is what Felipe was playing there, from North Brazil. There's a style, a groove called xochi, which comes from the Scottish in polka music. And
Na aula de hoje eu vou ensinar a música Coração, que é um shot muito bom para tocar.
this one has a
vou
swing.
ensinar
It's
na
like
versão para iniciar.
it's very often swung. Sometimes it's straight, but it's like a reggae kind of a sound almost. Let's see. See if he gets to the bellows.
O importante é você Fá maior, Dó, Sol e o Lá menor. E desceu por Fá e repete. Agora indo para a terceira etapa desse vídeo, vamos juntar as duas mãos nessa música. Como pré-requisito, você precisa ter exercício de coordenação motora. Se você não tem, dá uma analisada na sua rotina de estudos ou faça os nossos cursos de acordeão. E a gente mesma para os outros acordes, ok?
Fala mansa.
Fala pra esse vídeo, beleza? Então, tá bom? Esse 2 e 4 só pegou uma vez, ó. Só lembrando que meu baixo aqui tem uma coluna a mais, tá bom? Então aqui, ó, contrabaixos, baixos fundamentais, acordes maiores, menores, sétima e diminuto, tá bom? Então, a música tá em Sol, ela vai começar também no Sol. Vai ter o acorde de Ré maior. E... Não, esse final, ó. Eu não fiquei isso no Dó. Do Dó, maior, Ré, maior. Se quiser fazer Ré 7, melhor ainda.
I'm hoping that he's gonna show how it like changes in the middle. It's not quite a Bellows shake, but it is. It's the same idea.
E fica nisso.
Ah, okay, these are fun. 9 levels of xochi.
Junto, né? Então, ó. Sol, Ré menor. Ok, ó. Segurei uma. 1, 2. Uma. Seguindo o modelo da anterior, o que muda vai ser a rítmica da nota mais aguda, né? Que vai ser tá, 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 tá. Vai ser assim, ó.
Well, I'm not finding that, but let's see. On Vitor Gonçalvez's on that video that we watched last week, this one, it seemed like Hermeto was demonstrating different ways to bellows shake. Because now he's going up and down. Cool. Okay. Let's see. All right. So there we got some more. We've got some more fun stuff to look at here. So let's see. Let me go back here. I put together a little playlist. Let's see. Where's my playlist? I don't see. Oh, I scrolled too far. Okay. Go to my playlists. All right. So let's check out some of these. So this one has 11,000 views. I'm guessing it's pretty good. I didn't watch it, but let's see. This is Accordion Teacher. Subscribe to them.
Today, I prepared something special for you. How to play Bellows Shake. Achieve in order to be able to play the Bellows Shake.
So we're just going to kind of
First,
skim through these.
you want to have your bellows closed. That is
The Brazilian players can do these amazing bellows shakes and as effects and stuff. I wish I could find a Felipe like blew my mind, everybody's mind. He's so badass, but he did it. He has all this cool bellows shake stuff with the bellows out and his arm kind of out there, and he's shaking and then just kind of like then moving back to kind of like a straight bellows, you know, not shucking.
easiest way. Unless you're a professional, then you can play however you want. When you open and close your bellows, you must have the same range of opening and closing. Only then you can keep the same position and proper articulation. Control your instrument. You cannot shake your bellows like this. You have to keep it close to yourself. Make sure that your straps are tight enough and you hold your accordion like this and not like this. When you open,
And that's important because when he said not like this, the bass side was like stuck on his leg and it couldn't move. So you wouldn't be able to like get the proper movement of the basses like that.
and close the bellows, you usually move your hand left and right. But when you want to shake your bellows, you want to move your hand up and down.
So it's kind of like the palm is going down and up.
Muscles on your left hand move it.
Let's see his exercises.
Learn all this is through practice. I'm going to show you exercises that you can use. If exercises will help. Start with the C major chord, right hand or both hands. If the chords are too hard for you at this point, you can start with only one note. But I think it is better if you start with a chord because of the massiveness of the sound. First, start with a slow quarter note rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you change to an 8-note rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then triplet rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Check it, da 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 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 da da da. So it's still in duples. It's not really a triplet rhythm. It's more of a six. It's like 3 sets of 2. I wouldn't call that a triplet, but I see what he's saying. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and check it, down up, down up, down up. Because a triplet is hard to do because you're going 1 2 3. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. It's hard to make the pulse on the up feel just like the down.
And 16th note rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you do the turn, repeat. If you're struggling with the rhythm, take a metronome. I'm going to set it on 60 beats per minute.
Cool. Okay, so that's that one. Let's check out this one. So this one's a really old video that I, in my earliest days of trying to get better at accordion after the internet, after YouTube was invented. This video is like super old, 17 years old. I think this guy's from like Australia or New Zealand.
A little bit different. It's the
Oh, no,
same number,
he's
which
not
is
at all.
very simple, because anybody can learn to play glowworm. And that's the number that I use for instruction purposes. And you're all familiar with glowworm? If you're going to bellows shake in eighths, you would have 2 eighths for every quarter. And on this particular bellows shake, I want to point out the fact that actually you're not pumping the instrument. Most people think you're pumping the instrument. I can play that any bellows shake without ever putting my hand on the bass strap. What happens, you press down, the bass section falls out because you open the valves and the weight of that goes out. So in playing a bellows shake like in eighths, it'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you're getting 2 for every quarter. Now if you did it in sixteenths, you'd still end up with an even number of strokes per note, but you'd have 4 for every quarter because you're doing sixteenths. 1 and 2 and 4 each time. That's in sixteenths. Now if you get to triplets, then you have 3. It's the easiest one of the bunch. I want to point out something. On anything that has even numbers like eighths and sixteenths, your bass beat always falls on the outstroke, which means you've got to learn how to control that because your bellows keeps creeping out on you. But you can do triplets all day because what happens is your bass beat the first time falls on the outstroke and then it falls on the instroke. And here's what it sounds like. It's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Now, if you want to get like Dick Contino's Tony Little Beller thing, you don't do actually an in-out stroke at all. You pivot in the center. When I was playing those ones so far, I had the bottom shut. Now we're going to pivot in the center, and that's going to be your focal point rather than the bottom. And you're going to end up with 2 sounds each time.
Cool. That's fun. And I don't know, that guy just has a certain charisma about him. Thanks, Tom Collins. So let's go to this Uwe video that we've watched many times over the years. I think the first times were during COVID. This is a wonderful video. Uwe has a wonderful sense of humor and vibe about him. He's got the riz. So he's going to talk about how to do all these different kinds of bellows shakes. And he's playing a bayan, which is a very expensive instrument. Look at all the chin switches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like chin switches. It's probably really heavy. It's probably 30 or more pounds. Super deep, and it looks pretty tall as well, but it's got an enormous range. If you figure from here to there, from the first button of the, if you look at the sets of 3s on the first row, you got 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves, 4 octaves. He has more than 4 octaves of range in his right hand, and then probably about the same amount in his left hand. Pretty massive. Very heavy, takes a lot of control to play a big instrument like that, and it's quite taxing and exhausting. So this was a good transition, because Tom Collins, the teacher we just looked at, was talking about moving the bellows in the middle, and this on Winter, which he plays so beautifully, he's moving in the middle there for those 4s. You can see it. See, kind of making a circle. This would be so fun to play, to do, taking any parts of this to do as like a to make an exercise of transposing it into multiple keys would be really cool. Take that into 12 keys. Then you can kind of have that vocabulary to use in other situations, which is really fun.
Ja, hallo. Das war also das Quadruple Ricochet und ich habe euch heute mal da hoch postiert, damit ihr gucken könnt.
So when they, I think that, I don't know if the ricochet is the name for all of the Bellows Shakes or it's just the ones that the top and bottom or maybe where the middle bends. I don't know. I would love to know.
Weil ich erkläre euch nämlich, wie das geht. Und dabei fangen wir mal ganz von vorne an beim Bellows Shake und dann gehen wir rüber über Dreier und Vierer. Ja, und die ganzen Spielweisen dabei.
Aha.
Also, beginnen wir von vorne. Bellows Shake. Die erste Voraussetzung, die ich wichtig finde, dass man das versteht, ist, dass man gar nicht ziehen muss. Wenn man also den
And this is exactly what Tom
so,
Collins
also
was
wenn man
saying,
gerade
right?
sitzt, fällt der Balk ja von selbst runter und dann braucht man eigentlich nur noch gegensteuern, damit er nicht mehr aufgeht, sondern zu. Ja, das kann man ganz einfach hier machen. Dabei bleibt die untere Ecke normalerweise zu. Und ich finde aber für Vivaldi wichtig oder schön, weil ein Balk und die ganzen Stimmzungen sind relativ schwer, aber ein Bogen an der Geige ist total leicht und die können dann noch Akzente spielen und alles Mögliche. Das klingt auch viel dichter dadurch. Ja? Die machen nicht so, sondern so. Und das ist einfach nur, dass man hier unten also nicht zulässt und auf zumacht, sondern ein bisschen anstößt. Das ist schon eine Vorstufe.
So yeah, so this makes me think that yes, the difference between Bellows Shake and ricochet is that the ricochet is kind of hitting the bottom, hitting the top.
Zum Ricochet, weil das brauchen wir nachher an verschiedenen Stellen. Diese Technik des Anschlagens, ja, des Balks. Also das ist das Erste, was ich mal üben würde. Nicht einfach nur auf zumachen.
Well, you know, unfortunately, I'm looking at the time and I got to wrap it up because I have some teaching and some other stuff, some other online meetings to do. So, Girls Play Accordion, right back at you. Thank you for the kind words. Everybody else, thank you so much. I know this is a little bit of an abrupt ending, but I just like looked at the time where we're kind of past the time that I normally stop. This is all good. So, I don't know what I'm gonna do next week, but if I know everybody wants this left-hand episode, and because of that, I have a high bar. I gotta turn out something good. So it might not even be next week. I'll come up with something good, and then I have like all of. Let's see. I got a program October. The only one I know for sure is a spooky Halloween episode, the week of Halloween. And what else? I don't know. Some other fun spooky stuff for Halloween. In November, I have no idea. If you have suggestions, let me know. Let's see. I see. Okay, so I missed some questions. So let's see. Girls Play Accordion asked, his bellows seemed quite extended during the Bellows Shakes segment. No damage to them. No, a lot of times you'll be able to feel if you're pulling against the resistance of the bellows, the extended, then you could break it because the bellows are made of paper or something like that, and they're held together with tape and glue, and usually the corners, those metal corners that they have, are glued on there. So you could pull and break it. You'd have to pull pretty hard, and I've never heard of anybody doing that. You'd really have to try to break it. I think it's pretty obvious that you're at the end of it. When you're playing a very small accordion, it's very common to go to the end of the bellows. When you play a much smaller or a much larger accordion, it's rare. Like this accordion, this Victoria accordion that I have, I don't think I've ever run out of bellows. But my very first really nice accordion, which was a Titano that I got, and I was trying to play all this stuff, working really hard. The bellows were too small for the stuff I was trying to play, and it was challenging. P. Noble, you're welcome. My pleasure. So anyway, no damage to them. And as far as I know, you can't really damage, the clunking around won't damage the accordion, as far as I know. what could happen is just that jostling around can cause stuff to move. And the reed blocks inside of the accordion are held in usually by sort of a nut or a I don't know what you call it, like a clasp or something, a latch. It's not a latch or clasp, but just it's a thing that folds over and kind of just creates tension, and you screw it down, and they're just held in there like that, and so that can get dislodged. And so when you have your accordion serviced every year or so often, or if you notice any problems like leaks or whatever, that's usually the first thing to do is to check that, or just to reset everything and just make sure it's as tight as it needs to be, because playing that way with that much constant that can over time just cause things to shift, like vibration causes things to shift. So, but it shouldn't, as far as I know, should not cause any like damage to the accordion. You're not gonna create any irreparable things. And that's all. Okay, so had a good turnout today. Thank you guys so much. I wish you the best. Stick your community, help people, share beautiful music in the world, and look for all those points of beauty and inspiration that are out there, because all of us are seeing so much challenging things. Things seem pretty bleak for a lot of people. So focus on the beauty. Be well, be healthy. Go out there and share your music, or go find wonderful concerts. I'm trying to talk myself into this really expensive fundraiser that's happening this Saturday. I sent them an email. I was like, I can't afford this like $225 ticket fundraiser, but it's a pianist who's famous, who improvises on Baroque music, which I'm super into right now, this Partimento tradition. So I'm hoping they'll write back and they'll say, yes, we'll take your $40 donation to our organization. Come and stand against the wall and watch this concert. So that's something I'm excited about going to see. Best to everybody. I'll be back next Tuesday at the same time. If you need anything, you can find me at risingreed.com.